Record. Where am I? Share screen. This is day 16 PowerPoint. Day 16 PowerPoint. And then, excuse me, my allergies are real bad today. So sorry if I'm having to clear my throat a lot. Let's see.
Well, Chef, some of the things that I've been doing is not being saved, so I don't know what to do.
Okay, like what what are you at? Like what is not being saved?
As far as the quizzes and from the slideshow.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah. Okay. I'll look at your grade and see what see why is it, or kind of look at it today and see what's going on with it. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Could you send me an email, a reminder for me so I won't forget?
Yes. Yes, Chef.
Thank you so much. And if you've already done it, I can make it so where it won't have a 0 on there or whatever else. All right, so labor. Hold on, let me open up the chat line. All right. Let's see. So labor and payroll and staffing, scheduling, identifying the factors that affect employees. So we're going to be talking about things that could affect your employees as well. All right, let's get this party started. Let's see, labor cost. Excuse me. All right, labor is typically make up of 3 of these costs. You have, or a third of your costs. Sorry, not a third. A third of your costs. So just kind of think about it. You know, your main things are you've got your food, right? Is one of the biggest parts of your cost. Your employees are another cost, and just your facility is another cost. Those are the big kind of three sections of it, of your main expenses that you will be occurring. The size of the labor force depends on the number of factors. Yeah, really, it really depends on that. You know, how big is your dining room? How many people are allowed to be in there, right? You know, how big is your menu? Do you have a menu that is you know, just huge and you know, too much, so you have to have so many employees to be able to do that food? Or if it's like this, I see that photo down there with all the people in there, you know, that could be like a, you know, like a very, very fine dining facility that there's what I call a lot of tweezer work, a lot of, you know, very dainty kind of Instagramish kind of you know, plating presentation. You know what? If you've never watched, if you have Netflix and all of that, I was watching. I think it was called Street Foods. Oh my God, it's pretty damn cool. I mean, my wife and I and the kids went to the Philippines about 4 years ago, maybe longer now, but we're gonna go back soon. And they have one in Cebu, and it was very interesting. I mean, the restaurants there are amazing. The street food is amazing. But, you know, if you have some sort of like tweezer food, very dainty, very, you know, um, tiny, a lot of work, you're going to have a lot more staff. So, you know, determine what is your staff, or what is your need. If your menu is not very extensive and you don't have to have a lot of people, then you don't need to have such a huge crew. But again, depends on the size of your dining room. And now, right now, I mean, everybody is not, you know, the staff of the kitchen is not that much anymore, just because of the dining rooms are at, you know, still, I think at 25%, maybe at 50. I don't remember anymore. But it's still not that many people. So you're not going to have as much staff. Level of service. For me, you know, if there's a huge level of service, I mean, you've got a lot of upscale, very, very fine dining. They do a lot of, um, you know, like table side stuff, or you know, you've got many different like things. You have specialty back of the house cooks. You have you know, front of the house cooks as well, you know, that are cooking in front of the customer at their table. All of those things, those are things that you know, if you need it, you know, your staff, but you've got to be able to pay for your staff to get it. So um, your skill of worker, you know, and I'm not trying to be rude or crude whatsoever, but like, you know, McDonald's skilled worker is different than a like a Ruth Chris Steakhouse skilled worker. They might be a little different. They might have different skills. You know, anybody that's gone to a culinary school, you know, that I would consider that a skilled worker that knows what they're doing. You know, in you know, the higher the skill, or the higher the amount of information your employee knows, the more money you're going to have to pay them. Okay. You know, and let's say you want to do butchery on your own in your restaurant, and you need to hire a butcher to come in, or you need to be the butcher or whatever else. But any high skilled position costs a lot of money. So you just got to kind of remember that. You know, size of the menu. And we kind of talked about this before, you know, I think a few times, but size of the menu is very important as well. You know, if it's like the Cheesecake Factory, and again, I beat up on the Cheesecake Factory because of their menu, but you know, the the size of that, you know, if you have a huge amount of stuff, then you might need a lot more workers to get it all done. Um, but it kind of varies. But again, the size of the menu determines how many employees you have or could have. Service offered, do you have a buffet? Do you have, um, you know, what are the services you offer? Do you have catering? Do you have delivery? Do you have, and honestly, there is not going to be a restaurant that doesn't deliver, you know, either through one of the apps or through one of the third party vendors like Grubhub or whatever else, or just you know, them delivering our to-go food or whatever else. Especially now, you know, from now on, those are a given for a restaurant now. If you don't deliver, you're gonna probably or you don't use one of those delivery services, you're probably gonna just not do so well in the restaurant industry anymore because of just COVID and all of that stuff. But again, the more services you have, the more employees you're going to have. If you have a buffet, you've got to have someone out there manning the buffet, making sure it's doing well, all of that. Plus you've got, it's like, you've got other people going to order off the menu. So you need quite a few people to manage that restaurant. um, Labor costs, reducing labor costs. Well, there are ways to reduce labor costs without reducing the size of your staff. We've kind of talked about that by what were some of the ways that we've already talked about? Or one way, like cutting hours, right? Cutting hours is a big way of reducing your labor costs. If you're slow, cut somebody. Tell them to go, not like literally cut somebody, but tell them to go home early or whatever else. Send them home early. Anything like that to help reduce your labor cost. What is it? Do not overstaff for sure. I would much rather be maybe one person shy than one person heavy. Just because usually when it's one person heavy or we got a couple people extra, sometimes I will find people jobs to do for sure. There's always something to be cleaned or scrubbed or any of that sort of stuff. But most of the time, I'm not making enough money to handle paying an extra cook or something like that. So a lot of times I would just send them home early or just make damn sure that I don't schedule too many people on one shift. And then let's say it starts raining or the weather turns or something, and then, we had staffed up for a big, awesome summer day and now it's raining and it's cold outside. So I'm going to send people home for sure, because I do not want to have too many people on staff, because then they're just wasting time. They're kind of not doing what I would like them to do. So um, finally consider, let's see, like pre-portioned ingredients. Like if you are um, pre-packed, if you will, like a sandwich that's already pre-made, that sort of stuff that could be done during prep time. That would help with the labor costs. Helps with the labor cost and all of that. So where you're not having someone make the sandwich to order or whatever else, or, just make sure you have all your, meats sliced and ready to go. So where it's faster and easier and quicker, and you don't have your employees wasting much time. Let's see, someone wrote, excuse me, can you be salaried? Can you be salaried? Yes, you can be salaried being a chef. Yes. Most of the time the salaried chefs are executive chef and sous chef. Those are the two usually salaried chefs that are out there. The rest of them, if you're a line cook or any of that sort of stuff, you're usually working hourly. But if you are, just a sous chef or executive chef, usually it's salaried because they want to use your time a lot more. So you would be that way. So let's see, ways to reduce the cost of labor. Let's see. Um, um, let's see, 5 ways to reduce. So cost, there's one. Cut costs, cut labor, do whatever you can. Again, it's all about just cutting costs. If I have employees just sitting around, kind of twiddling their thumbs, I'm going to cut labor. I'm going to cut people. Cut some cost, and that's just kind of how it is, unfortunately, because to make everything balance out, the amount of food I sell, I ideally you should be able to pay your employees with the profit of the day of what you're making on that day. So if you're too heavy on the employee cost and you're not making enough money to pay your employees on that day, then you need to trim down some cost, and you need to cut a few people. All right, so review and adjust basically plans, right? You need to look at your plan, figure it out. You know, is it the salary? Is your salary too high? Is it your wages are too high? The benefits can help find several opportunities for food cost or food cost reduction. You know, I mean, honestly, putting people at part-time is a great reduction of cost, just because I don't have to pay extra, like, pay insurance and all of that. So that is a a good reason why to keep people at part-time. A lot of places are now just doing part-time or just doing kind of contract labor. I'll pay you for 2 months or whatever else of your services, and that's kind of it. Um, but just reviewing and adjusting, and looking at all your costs, all your expenses, everything, review it, look and ask yourself, do you really need to do that, or do you really need this person, or do you really need another manager, or can you deal with a manager and then just have an assistant manager instead of having two managers. uh, so where one manager is on duty, and then when that other manager is not on duty, you just got an assistant manager instead of having two managers on duty at the same time. Just trying to reduce it down. Um, it's saying my internet is unstable. Am I frozen?
Not like it lags
Not
a
on
little
my
bit.
end.
Okay, good. Thank you. I just always want to make sure when it pops up, want to make sure. Thank you. Okay, so let's see, additional changes. Maybe for full-time or contract or part-time, like I was saying, under 30 hours per week. Can uh, people, and that's our part-time, I'm sorry, are not eligible, but full-time is eligible, and we just talked about that. Let's see. All right, I think that's about it. Reduce overtime and other pay overages. Yeah, just making sure that it's time and a half. So and that's after 40 hours a week. So what I would suggest is, just telling your employees, you cannot have any overtime whatsoever. And if you do, I've kind of written people up for getting too much overtime, or telling them that they need to, clock out during breaks, or a little bit more, or whatever else. So you just got to be very careful. Honestly, I usually schedule my full-time employees, uh, like 35 hours instead of 40. So where it pads me, so where if they go over, they're not going to go over the 40 hours. They're just going to hit the 40 hours. So just scheduling, being cognizant and aware of how many hours each employee has if they were hourly employees. And usually there's um, only like 2 or 3 people that are on staff that are salaried. And that's always the executive chef, sous chef, maybe the front of the house man, or the, sommelier, or something like that. But someone that, a front of the house manager, is usually salaried. And then, but did I finish all that? Just reduce overtime. That's the biggest deal. Help reduce wages, overtime. All right, again, just really just be careful. Stress to everybody that you cannot have over 40 hours, and just I would schedule them like 30 hours, or 35 hours or so, just so where if they hit that 40-hour mark, they're not hitting it too much over, so it doesn't get too much OT. Time theft, hidden labor costs. That's like somebody going hiding in the bathroom, and not really wanting to clock out or whatever else, or just going very slow, being very slow on purpose to milk the clock. To do stuff like that, just anything that take a few extra minutes on break, that are don't clock out clock out 5 minutes later, or I'm sorry, are not clock out at all on your break, or whatever else. Just anytime you are wasting time, that it's kind of hidden theft or time theft in a way. You just got to make sure that you manage your employees' breaks, make sure that make sure everything is going fine, and just manage the time. I can't stress that enough, because I always check their time mid-morning, or when they first clock in. I try to check it at least twice a day, when they clock in and clock out, just so I can kind of see what's going on, because you always need to be aware of your surroundings. And then also, you got people clocking in for them, for other people, like if, hey, when you get in, can you just clock me in, and early, or whatever else, so I can get a little extra money. Or I've seen people say, hey, I'm going to leave early, but can you clock me out? Those things like that, that's kind of time theft, or you just have to be very careful with that. And now a lot of them, you have to have a certain PIN and all of that, but some of them you have to clock in with your fingerprint. all of that, and that helps prevent someone clocking in for you. Reduce labor costs by scheduling, just managing your schedule, managing your sales, looking at what your reservations are. Especially now, I can tell because most people have to have, or a lot of restaurants are asking for reservations, especially now with COVID going on. What I, you can kind of look at your reservations and manage and figure out, manage how many people you probably need on staff at all times by just your reservations. But that is something important. Let's see, scheduling. There's an employee scheduling software that is available on point of sales, kind of POS systems, like, and that's what I was kind of telling you, where you can punch in a number and you can go ahead and do a clock in, like I don't know, I've seen it Taco Bell or McDonald's, where at the kiosk right where they do the food orders, they have, they clock in and clock out through that way. And that is a good way of doing it. Just manage your manage that, and also manage the time off that people have. That can be a difficult time because I can only have realistically, to keep my business going, I can only have a certain amount of people on vacation or taking off at one time. So I have to be very careful with that and manage how many people are on vacation or off, just so where I'm not screwing up my schedule. And making sure that it is equal for everybody. That's the one thing, trying to make sure that you do not ever play favorites when it comes to time off or any of that sort of stuff, because that can come bite you in the butt. People could say you're, you don't like them, you're prejudiced against them, whatever else. But anyway, you just got to be very careful with that. But just scheduling time off as well, and training. Training also, like retraining, like maybe let's say our kitchen, our restaurant got someone sick, let's say, and I'm going to shut down the kitchen, and we're going to do a retraining on sanitation or whatever else. So making sure I have scheduled stuff for training, as well as, just people taking time off. Reducing employee turnover. Has anybody ever worked at a job where there's a lot of turnover rate? People just kind of,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and that's very difficult, I feel like, to work in a situation like that, because there are people, the employees typically don't know the full kind of, what their full job, a lot of times, because they got just thrown into a situation just because of we were short-handed, we didn't have enough people. So then we just started, hiring people, and we haven't gotten everybody trained properly or whatever else, or you just had a massive amount of people just quit because you had, let's say you had a change in management or whatever else, and you had like change in management, so you lost a lot of people, and then you had to hire more people, and then so the managers new, and then your employees are new, and no one really knows what the hell's going on, and that's a screwed up situation. So you got to be very careful with that. And to reduce turnover, make people happy. figure out ways to keep your employees happy and motivated. I've heard of people, just once a week, every week, whoever was, all the people that was in, at work, they put their name in a drawing every day. Every day they showed up, and we draw, and we, get a gift card, or I hand out gift cards or something, just some things just to motivate people or give them that recognition, to, get their name on the menu, or anything that gives them recognition, to make sure that they know that we love them, that we care for them, we want them to succeed, all of that sort of stuff. As a manager, you have to be part psychologist, part like cheerleader. You got to be part, a mom or a dad, to listen to some people's problems. You have to be someone that your employees can come turn to, because honestly, you spend half your life at your job, So it's like, there's going to be problems, there's going to be issues, and open communication is one of the best ways of dealing with all of the communicate, with it all. So just keep your staff. It says keep your staff happy, but you can never force people to be happy. But what you can do is you can have a happy, have a smile on your face, good morning, and just kind of be cheerful and try to express to them how much they, they're part of this team that we're in. And if they're not there, they're not a good team player, all of that sort of stuff. So just try to make sure that your team is working together, not against each other. Because I've seen people, when you have high turnover rate, you have some stubborn people that, I don't care, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And, because when the cat's away, maybe the manager's new, or maybe the manager is just overwhelmed. But you need to make sure you maintain that. Maintain a good communication with all your employees. This is just Gen Z, and millennials. Okay, so anybody, you've got millennials, and the millennials, honestly, I don't know if y'all are all millennials. I haven't really seen everybody's face or whatever else, but looked at everybody's age. But millennials get a bad rap sometimes, but the whole thing is everybody works a little differently. Yeah, I know my daughters, one's 18 and one's 15. I know that anything that has to do with the cell phone, I need to, I'll send like a list of items that they need to do to their cell phone or whatever else. Maybe making sure that, my prep sheets are text message to everybody or whatever else. So where people, because they use their phone like they use, that's how they take notes, or that's how I see a lot of people taking notes on their phone or whatever else. And making sure that I incorporate what their needs are as well. Some people like it written down, some people like it told, but you're going to be dealing with all different kinds. You have millennials, you have baby boomers that, and that's an older crowd. But you've got to just maintain communication, no matter how old they are, or what generation they are. You need to figure out how to manage those employees. Okay, plain and simple. So make sure you know how to do that. Let's see, cross training, very important. Making sure that everybody knows everybody's station, because if you don't know everybody's station and someone gets sick or something like that, then maybe I'm stuck having, as the manager, or you as the manager, or you as the executive chef, might get stuck with having to do someone else's job because you didn't cross train all your employees, and no one else knows how to do it other than you. Earn tax credits for hiring new employees. Yeah, you earn tax credits, and there are other tax credits for hiring, let's say, people that are on, if people are on, unemployment. If someone is on unemployment and then I give them a job, I get a tax credit for taking them off unemployment. So I get a credit or a credit for taking someone off of unemployment. And that's kind of a good thing. It's kind of a little extra cash for me, or a little extra kind of side money type of a deal. So where, I'm hiring this person, but I'm getting a little tax break on that one person because I took them off unemployment. And the government doesn't have to support them now, so they give you a little extra gravy money, a little extra bread and butter money, because of they're not having to foot the bill for someone else that is on unemployment. Okay, so empowerment zone are government aid. Yeah, this is kind of helped for government aid or any of that sort of stuff, making sure that you have you can get certain aid for certain employees. Let's say, and I'm if I hire someone with Americans with or a disability, sometimes I will get a tax break on having to or extra money to kind of retrofit my my kitchen or any of that sort of stuff. Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're fine.
When you mentioned that, actually, I was thinking about incorporating that into the restaurant, having to also cater to the sites, because it seems like they're treated differently, but they need to also be treated like this, the same person.
No, I agree. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, and it will make more sense, and it will actually give you more if you also engage those people.
Yes. No, that is very true. That is very true. That's a great, like give you more money if you engage with those people. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's very true. Very true. Yeah, again, just everybody wants to be treated like, nice, and everybody wants it with respect and with just, no one wants to be treated like shit, plain and simple, right? No one wants to be called names or felt like they're not wanted or not needed at a job. And as a manager and as a boss, as the executive chef, or as whatever you are, if you are the manager, it is important every single day to go and make sure your employees know that they are wanted and needed, and that that we care for them. And especially now, guys, especially now, the world is crazy, right? Everybody's ultra sensitive. Everybody's looking for something, right? They're and you gotta make sure you know talk to your employees and treat them like human beings, because they are, right? And you've got to make sure that you also uh, got their back. You got to make sure you tell them you got their back, whatever it is. I will stand by you, whatever it is, or to a point, right? I mean, if they um, are belligerent with employees, well, that's a different story, or whatever else. But again, it kind of depends on the situation, right? If they get belligerent with employee, or I'm sorry, with a customer, maybe the customer is to blame, right? Because we've seen all those crazy Karens out there, right? I mean, I love watching, a train wreck, and these people at Costco, or the people at convenience stores, or wherever, it's a train wreck, right? I mean, I'm shocked every time that these people are adults doing. I mean, this is something that kids would do, like in a grade school, like picking on a bully or whatever else. But I mean, it's getting really bad. And as a manager, you need to rally around your employees, and really make sure your employees know that, hey, whatever it is you need, I will help you out. I will do whatever it is. And making sure that you really do that, and you do that on a daily basis. Very important, because everybody wants to feel like they are a value. They are valued in some way, right? And if you treat them with no value, they're going to treat your job like there is no value in that. So they're going to do a very half-assed job for you if you don't give them that feeling of that you're valued, and that we care for you, and that we want you to succeed in our business. Because honestly, I couldn't do my job. If I was the executive chef and I had no employees, I couldn't do my job. I couldn't do my job, because I need everybody else there to help me do the job, right? So making sure that everybody understands we're in this together, and it's not always an individual thing. And making sure that you don't discriminate. You don't discriminate on anything: age, sex, religion, you name it. I mean, color of your skin, all of that. No, that you cannot. You have to treat people with the respect that everybody deserves. And that is something that, especially right now, everybody is very ultra sensitive about it. And you need to make sure you go out of your way every day to make sure that your employees feel like they're a value for the company, and a value for you. That I care for them, and that I respect them, and that and that's just a lot of it is just listening to your employees, letting your employees talk to you. Hearing their concerns, and letting them know I hear you. They're in being honest with them as well, and making sure that you are not you're not like dismissing them. Never want to dismiss a problem that an employee gets, because you know why? Because it's a problem for them, maybe not a problem for you. Maybe you don't even think it's a problem, but no matter what, it's a problem to your employees. So it's a problem to me because it's affecting their work. It could be affecting their work because their minds on it, or I mean, we all know well, I know that I always have some sort of money problems. I'm always like, always trying to scramble to pay for this or that, right? So, I mean, maybe I just am in knee deep in debt at home or whatever else I've got, or let's say my house is getting, I might get it taken away from the bank because I can't pay all my bills or something, let's say. And then that's going to affect me at my job, right? Because I'm going to be maybe pissed off or frustrated, or when I know that when I have problems at home or anything, my sleep gets affected. So I'm kind of tired a lot more or grumpy. So just making sure you talk to those employees. All right. And I got on a big soapbox. So sorry about that. But let's take a 20-minute break. We good? Or here, let me see how many more PowerPoints we have. Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll do a 20-minute break. 7:20. Cool. See you in 20 minutes. hold on, let me switch to share. All right, we're back. All right, so let me get back. All right, scheduling employees, we kind of talked about that already, just making sure that you schedule employees, so you're not overstaffing or understaffing, just trying to figure out how to schedule people so where you're not going to be understaffed or overstaffed. I strongly recommend and this strongly recommends a scheduling software for sure. I think that is the best because you can kind of, it will plug in everybody. It can figure out how many hours, it figures out how much pay it is, but I think a scheduling software is really important to have, especially now. Doing hand schedules is like a thing of the past. You don't really do that much anymore, or I don't like to see it. Let's see here. Few things to keep in mind. Employees can call someone to come in if they can't. For example, for example, right now, I've got one of the chefs called me up that is cooking, that is doing the cooking portion of the school, and said, "Hey, I'm going to be out on this Friday. Could you cover for me, cover for my class?" And of course. So I'm going to be just instead of him, calling in sick or whatever else, or taking the day off, I'm just covering for his day, and he'll cover for me. Like when I need a day off or whatever else, he'll cover for me. So it's kind of a scratch your back, I'll scratch yours. So where no one's really taking the day off, but we're just switching days around. And I've got a little favor in my back pocket the next time I need to use it. Make sure the staff and employees are, they're clearly defined, from the management role to just regular people that are in charge or authoritative power, like, having shift manager or, having something where people know exactly who you are, and how to get to talk to a manager, or whoever is in charge at that moment in time, is very important. Motive, motivation. It's hard, motivation is one that is just kind of one of those things you've got to keep everybody motivated, push people. I go, all right, guys, let's go, let's go, let's go. Keep up, keep the eye, keep your eye on the goal, all of that, just trying to keep you motivated, keep you pushing, pushing for more. Let's see. Employee motivation. Let's see what I want you to know about this. If people step out of line or if people have any problems, you need to just confront them, but just try to motivate them in any way possible. I know probably everybody in this class gets motivated differently. I think it's one of those things you'll just what motivates them, what is what do they need to be successful, and those are things that you need to look at and try to figure out for yourself as a manager. Is it a lot of rah-rah-ree kind of a thing? Is it team building? Is it recognizing people that are successful, all of that, but just some sort of motivation and trying to keep everybody, in a good mood, or not in a good mood, but keep people pushing and going and doing what needs to get done. Common employee motivations. Let's see, responsibility. Let's talk about responsibility. If you get more responsibility, you might be more motivated to do your job a little bit more, with a little more I don't know, gumption, or a little more motivation. But I think in recognition as well. Recognition is great. Recognizing, hey, oh yes, come on, yeah, go ahead.
What's sous chef again? Because I
Okay, sous chef is like the second in charge. So you have the executive chef is the main person, and then you have a sous chef is like someone just right underneath the executive chef.
so
So
that's like the second demand.
that is correct. That is correct. Yes. So basically, uh, they're in charge when the executive chef is gone, or they're kind of like the assistant manager in a way, if you want to call it that, or management. But yeah, they are kind of part of the management crew. But yes, they are second in command or second in charge, right underneath the executive chef. Does that answer your question? I think you might have froze up, but yeah, if that's not answer your questions, let me know when you get unfrozen. All right, let's see. Uh, let's see. Theft. We call it shrink, but theft, making sure that you try to avoid anything like, here is drinks, food, you name it, any of those, padding checks, any of that sort of stuff is part uh, of theft. So making sure that you try to avoid people from stealing from you or any of that good stuff. Like stealing tips or stealing tips from somebody, or front of the house, back of the house. There's usually always kind of fighting going on. Making sure that your staff is not stealing product or whatnot. Poor performance. Has anybody ever had to deal with someone that had very poor performance? That could be an issue. Poor performance is a big issue, just because of if they're poor performing, they're obviously not doing what they should be doing. So they're not, they're wasting my money, or sure that everybody's running on an even path. Following are some factors of a leader that lead to poor performance. So these are things that lead to poor performance. Personality or ego clash. Yeah, some people think, hey, that person's, their poop doesn't stink, or whatever else. They're think they're better than me or whatever else. But ego, personalities, sometimes personalities, you know, you don't click together or whatever else. Different people just don't click. You know, so just making sure, but this, oops, these are factors of poor performance. So if you have personality clashes or ego clashes, that is one of them. Stress. Stress is a huge thing for poor performance, because if you're stressed at home, if you're stressed at work, you know, you're not going to be doing as well as you should be doing. You're going to be thinking about all the stress, all the, you know, everything that you're going to be doing, but you're not going to be working as hard and all of that. Heavy workloads for sure. If you have a huge heavy workload, that could where you've got to maybe either do a half-ass job on all of it or do like a good job on some of it or whatever else. But that could really, if you're overworked, you could easily have a lot of bad performance just because you're just trying to keep afloat, right? You're just trying to stay there, so where you're not going to you know, not going to get
Chef,
yes.
I'm so sorry, but
It's okay. It's okay. No worries. But
um,
did I answer your question?
I really did not hear it because the internet, the computer,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
had to on my phone.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So I'll tell you again. So basically, the executive chef is like the main, the head person in the in the kitchen aspect. So you got executive chef, and right underneath executive chef, you have a person called sous chef, or it's the second in command. So you know, when the executive chef is gone, their manager, they're the head of the kitchen, whatever else. And usually the sous chef does a lot more of the day-to-day work in the kitchen. And the executive chef usually sits and does more like bookwork or paperwork and ordering and the hiring and firing. They might not do as much of the cooking as the sous chef would do. The sous chef is pretty much in charge of uh, making sure the line, all the people that are working the stations are doing what they should be doing. Executive chef is usually managing more of the kind of the business side of it, not the cooking side of it as much, but you know, it really kind of depends on the facility, where you're at, how big your facility is. Like at hotels, you know, the executive chef honestly doesn't really do much cooking at whatsoever. Everything is done by the sous chef. Executive chef is just there to do the management, the all the bookwork or paperwork and all of that sort of stuff. So does that answer your question?
So does that mean the sous chef does most of the job?
The sous chef does a lot of the, I would say the well, no, I mean, executive chef is controlled of the whole restaurant, right? And the sous chef is kind of the, I would say, does all the what, like the grunt work
Like the
or the,
executive chef is the one that like they're like top tier. They know what to do and they delegate down to the sous chef.
yeah,
The sous chef delegates to everyone else. Like a lieutenant and a sergeant. One's in
yeah, it's
charge
like
and
it's like
sous chef will tell them what
military.
to do.
It's like in the military. You know, you
Yeah.
have a higher and then lower and kind of going down from there.
And then that job is to delegate and tell everyone else what to do.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix this computer.
Okay, yeah, no problem. No worries. I'm gonna just keep going, but I can send you a definition what a sous chef and what an executive chef is. I'll send that to you. Okay.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right, no
Chef.
problem. All right, so heavy workloads for sure are a way to have bad performance or poor performance, right? So we're talking about poor performance, and workload is one of them. How about resources? Not having the proper resources, not having the proper things to do your job. That could also be part of poor performance as well. Poor leadership for sure, guys. I mean, hands down, poor leadership will totally equal to poor performance. I mean, you don't know how many times I've been around, having, being around managers or you know, seeing that when you have a bad manager or a bad management staff, the usually 9 times out of 10, 90% of the time, I would say, you have poor performance when you have a crappy manager or someone that cannot manage properly. And again, guys, you can slap a manager title on anybody, but they might not do the right thing. There might not be a good management quality, but you have to teach people how to manage. People are not just born with how to manage different people and different walks of life and all of that. So you have to figure it out, and training is important. And I sometimes will blame not the manager for being crappy. I usually blame the management team, whoever the person is that hired that person, because of they didn't do the right job by training them or giving them the right tools to be successful. And to be successful manager, you have to have a lot of good tools, a lot of ways on how to talk to people. Like, I mean, for example, like let's say someone, let's talk about myself, right? Or let's talk about someone else or whatever. But it's one of those things where if you say, hey, I understand, but let's say you're having kid issues, right? You're having childcare issues. And if I say, oh yeah, I understand, but that I don't have any kids, and truly, I don't understand what you're going through. So you need to have different verbiage. I hear what you're saying, and what can we do to help you resolve the issue, instead of you just kind of saying, oh yeah, I understand what you're saying. It sucks, but you still got to get here. I need to kind of talk, as a manager, I need to go, hey man, I noticed, or hey, I noticed that you've been maybe not doing as well of a job. What's going on? Is there something I can do for you? Is there or do you have all the material? Do you have all the work? Whatever else, but just have an open communication, and not be don't aggressively go to your employees there's a time and a place to be aggressive, but being too aggressive to your employees I mean, your employees will turn against you if you're being too aggressive, like, yelling at them a lot or whatever else. No one likes to be yelled at. No one likes to be put on the spot. So being a good manager and trying to figure out ways of disciplining and talking and all of that to your employees without making them feel belittled or degraded or abused in any sort of way. It's very important to, and honestly, to be a good manager, you got to have training, guys. If you've never been a manager, you got to get trained, because, you know, if you just get promoted from, you know, just a like regular line cook to a management position, you might not know how to discipline people correctly. You might not know how to, you know, do all these things. So their training is very, very important. Or shadowing a manager for a month or two is also important. Or, you know, if you don't get any training other than shadowing. Um, all right. So two
Yes.
different workers are given the same role, you know, making sure that you deal with that, and you don't have, you know, lack of management, lack of if someone has the same role, you know, it can be different. If I have two executive chefs, I can't have two executive chefs, because who's gonna listen to me? Who's gonna listen to them? You need to have just one executive chef. Like, don't have two managers on staff, because there's too many you know, too many, you know, head people in there and not enough workers. So you need to manage it properly. You can't have uh, two people in the same role, because no one knows who to listen to. Both the chefs are gonna, yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen for sure on that, because of, you know, you have too many, then you have multiple multiple opinions, and no one knows which one is the best and all of that. So try to have one person that is in control of it all. um let's see, let's see, lack of transparency. Okay, transparency, and let me explain what that is. You know, being fair, I would say, or no spreading rumors, any of that sort of stuff. You know, if there's something that goes down, I'm going to tell everybody. You know, I mean, granted, I'm not going to say, you know, I suspended this person from their job today. I don't want to say that, because that's what I call a FERPA violation. That is basically kind of like, I can't talk about my employees like that to my other employees. I've got to keep it professional. I can't talk about my employees' personal business. That would be, I would be violating their the trust, and I could get legal actions, because I'm spreading, or I'm talking about my staff that they shouldn't know about the staff. So, you know, but just management, just trust in management, making sure that my employees trust you, because if you don't trust, you won't allow, you know, you're going to question every everything that they're going to do, right? You're going to question, well, I mean, is that right? Is that not right? You know, if you have no trust in them, you're going to question everything that they tell you to do. You're going to question, and you're going to be on guard a little bit more. And so making sure that as a manager, I'm very straight and honest with you and fair with you. And what if someone drinks on the job, and someone else drinks on the job, I need to treat them as, you know, kind of the same discipline, same everything, because you know, if I treat someone differently, that could cause you to feel like I either don't like you, or I favor you, or some sort of discrimination or any of that sort of stuff. So being very transparent on what it is that, why you're disciplining them, why you're doing this, or why we need to do this a certain way, but just being very clear and concise, and making sure your employees understand why you're doing certain things. Because if not, people will get, you know, disgruntled, and then they're just not going to go like, why aren't they say one thing, but they do a different thing. And that right there causes you to feel like, okay, what if I do this? How are they going to treat me, or what are they going to do to me? Right. So you need to have clear rules. And if someone breaks those rules, you've got to immediately deal with that. You can't just brush it under the rug, or maybe it's one of your friends that you've been worked with, all your, their kind of management, or they're not management, but it's one of your friends that's working the line, and you treat them differently. That's going to make everybody else in your restaurant feel like you're playing favorites, and that you'll do whatever for that other employee, but you won't bend over backwards for someone else. So making sure that it's very transparent. Cash value. Let's see, employees. Our clash value. I said cash, but I meant cash. Clash. So values. Like I had this issue with a few managers I've had. Their values are their ways of doing things. Just, it was not the way I dealt with it. I had a manager, the executive chef at an Omni hotel that I worked at many years ago. He hated women in the workplace, and he would just basically belittle anybody that was a woman. And oh my God, I literally left that place within 6 months. I quit because it was disgusting in his values, how he dealt with people. It was just a disgusting way. And I felt like I was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like when I would go in, I would become angry and frustrated and, hate my job. And then that would in turn bring it to my home. When I clock out, I would still be pissed off at my job, right? I would hate to, I would just hate being there, because the guy was just such I would say a disgusting guy, just the way he talked about women in front of his employees that were women. It was just a horrible situation. And luckily he got fired and all of that, because I brought that up to HR. But his values, his thoughts, his ways of dealing with it clashed with me. And it was one of those things where you just really need to be very careful with that. People's values, people's thoughts, people's religious, people's all of that, you've just got to be very cognizant and aware of that, because, I don't want to say, I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable as a manager. And as a manager, if I'm making people feel uncomfortable, that equals poor performance. Okay, if you feel uncomfortable, or if you feel like you're not valued in any way, or someone is belittling you every single day, you're not going to give 110%. You're not going to give your all in that job, right? You're going to just kind of give excuse my language, but a half-ass, job, right? You're just going to kind of not be as of a team player, and it's all because of your manager or whoever it is. So just, and it could be a manager, it could be even employees, someone right beside you that you work with on a daily basis might just treat you like crap, or treat you badly, or you just can't clash or can't work together. So, just make sure that you understand that, let's just don't put don't don't be like that one chef at the Omni. Try to, you know, be a little more transparent, and understand that people have different values than you, different thoughts than you, and that it's okay to have different thoughts than you. That's I mean, that's why we live here in the United States, that we can think what we want to think. We have our own opinions, and it's fine, but we can't try to put my values to somebody else, because maybe that doesn't work for them. So just making sure that you understand that, and you try not to change your employees by, imparting your maybe values that you have that maybe someone else doesn't. So just be careful in that. And gossip. Oh my God, gossip is a killer. I hate, I hate when we have gossip, but honestly, gossip's going to happen every single day, every single time. When two people get together, they're going to gossip, and, little chatty Cathys or chatty Johns or whatever you want to call it. Just everybody's all talky and just spreading rumors or gossiping about, hey, did you hear about this person? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
When you're running a restaurant, whether you're in the back or the front, how many chefs are you supposed to have to make
It really kind of depends. For you only want one executive chef and one sous chef, but if, let's say, you have three different shifts, you're running a casino. Let's say you're in a casino that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? So each shift is going to have probably a executive chef, or maybe not an executive chef, but at least a sous chef. So your morning crew will have a sous chef, your afternoon, and it really kind of depends on how big your facility is and how many people you're going to be doing. And if you're open 24 hours a day, you're going to always have to have some sort of manager there at all times. But it could be a staff of 3 in the kitchen, or it could be a staff of 300. It really kind of depends. I've seen it all. In a cruise ship, there's probably over about 400 people in the kitchen, or 400 people, so where they could shift depending on front of the house, back of the house, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, no, I was just asking, what is the most that you can have?
The number is whatever it needs to be. Hold on one second. Whatever needs to be when like of how many people you're serving and how big your restaurant is. So it could be 200, it could be to 300, or to 2. So it really kind of varies. So there is not a set number, unfortunately.
Okay, you just have to keep watch of your customers and how big your restaurant is.
That is correct. And how many shifts you have. If you have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner shift, and you're staying open all the time, you at least need to have some sort of manager there. you know, and what I would do is maybe stagger, like maybe the sous chef would come in and work, or maybe the executive chef would come in and work in the morning time, and the sous chef would come in maybe halfway through the day, and then so where there's always a manager somewhere at all times. I just muted you here. If you want to unmute yourself. Are you good? Okay. I was just having feedback on my end. But gossip is just, it's the biggest thing. And if your employees are gossiping about, you know, your management, all of that sort of stuff. So you just got to be very careful. Poor pairing, pairing two people up that cannot be paired together. That kind of has a problem. I mean, you can look, these three people right here in this little picture. You know, they look kind of pissed off because this girl is talking on the phone or whatever else, and they need to be working. But just making sure that the pairing up people is going to work, and if it's not, you need to address the situation because that could lead to very poor performance. Uh, Outdated technology, yeah. You know, for example, you know, just remember my day 1 and day 2 of this class. Does everybody remember that?
Yeah, that was rough.
Do you remember how rough it was for those 2 days? Okay, and I felt like I was being very poor performance with y'all. You know, and I was taking it very personal, but the issue is my technology. My Chromebook was not working very well with Zoom. So I had to get a different computer, you know, that would work better, that were a little faster and more memory on the computer. So where just even old technology can give you poor performance, because I will tell you right now, that Monday and that Tuesday were the worst 2 days, you know, of this class, just because of, I felt like I gave you the crappiest performance I ever had, because there was so many problems in all of that. So just dealing with old technology, you know, I mean, and people are having computer issues, all of that, you know, everybody's learning how to use technology in a different way, and sometimes our technology is too old. Like I was trying to have my daughter's going off to college in, I guess, 3 weeks or so, and so where, you know, we were trying to have a video conference with one of our counselors, and we were having problems connecting and all of that sort of stuff. So, and she was saying, well, the computer was old and she was supposed to get it replaced and all of that. And so just, it was a poor performance. She had a poor performance just because her computer was old and all of that. So just try to, you know, or your equipment is old, the grill sucks, or your ovens are not working very well, whatever else. Just if you have outdated technology or outdated products, then that could help. That could cause you some problems as well. Bullying and harassment, for sure, guys. You don't have to raise your hand if you've ever been bullied or harassed in a kitchen or at a job, but that does happen, and that totally brings everybody down. You know, I, everybody gets pissed. Someone's pissed. You know, people are making fun of somebody or whatever else. You know, you know, like what my parents told me when I was younger, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. okay? You know, just keep your mouth shut. And, you know, if you want to think something, you can think all you want to in your head. No one's going to take your thoughts away. But the minute you open your mouth is the minute you screw up everything on the harassment or bullying or any of that sort of stuff. And it could be harassment on sexual harassment. It could be just bullying because you're slow. You know, I've seen people, you know, call people molasses. Their nickname in the kitchen is molasses because they're slow as molasses. You know, that's bullying, that's harassing, you know, that's calling someone names. You know, I mean, granted, you do have, you know, you might have a nickname or here or there, but, you know, I mean, when it's degrading or belittling that nickname, you know, people could take offense to it, and that could be considered harassment or bullying. So you really have to be very, very careful with that, and try to nip that in the bud as fast as you can. When you hear it, when you see it, any of that, you as a manager, you need to stop it immediately, because it can get physical. It can get, you know, I mean, someone could get pissed and, you know, throw, you know, I mean, I've seen people, you know, box, you know, fight in the kitchen, you know, because it's very emotional. It's hot. It's everything is on the, you know, you're having to do it fast, fast, fast. And, you know, people bullying you or harassing you, it could, and guys, we have knives. We have things that can hurt people. We have equipment, hot grease, all of that sort of stuff. So if people get pissed off, you know, people are going to throw stuff, people are going to yell, people are going to, you know, all of that sort of stuff. You've got to really manage that as a manager. You cannot have that happen, plain and simple. Any harassment or bullying, and, you know, if you allow it, it could be your ass on the line, and you could get fired for allowing our legal actions against you if you allow harassment or bullying in the workplace. So you've got to be very careful with that as well. Discrimination, for sure. I mean, you got age discrimination, you have sex discrimination, you have religious discrimination, you just have you know, ethnic discrimination, whatever your ethnicity is. And you know, so you have all, you know, even someone that's handicapped or anybody that's ADA compliant, Americans with Disability compliant or ADA, you know, if you're not, you've got to be very careful. You do not want to discriminate anybody. And then you would have a EEOC complaint on you, and that would be very difficult. Poor performance management. You know, as a manager, you need to have better performance. So you want to try to be a better, you know, the better the manager is, the better the employees are going to be, I believe. Health considerations or health problems, you know, managing people with mental health, you know, especially right now, everybody's, you know, I mean, I'm so ready for a vacation. I need like a mental health vacation, you know, a health vacation, just to get away from everyday life for a little bit, because our everyday life is stressful now. Everybody's stressed out. You know, I mean, am I going to get sick if I go out, or am I going to do this? Everybody's got a little concern. So you need to make sure you're aware of that, and talk to your employees and make sure that you might have, you know, maybe a mental health day or something like that. You know, have have a day where they can take off, and it's not going to go against their vacation, but it could be a mental health day. I think
Chef, what's a mental health day?
a mental health day is like if you need help, you just need a day off just to kind of because you're just so full of nerves, or you just need to, like, your mental, like your brain health day of just kind of taking a day for yourself, type of deal.
Sorry.
All right, well, that's it, man. That is it. Any questions? Any problems? We good for the day? You can unmute yourself. You don't have to be sorry.
Any new word on the schedule, or are they still working that out?
They're still working it out, but there are a couple of people that have not filled out that form. Please, about your suggestions on I think, what was the questionnaire, that little questionnaire that they had?
What questionnaire?
Like if you wanted to, if you feel like you wanted to go to do online or on ground or whatever else.
I guess not enough people voted for on ground for August block. So I guess
okay.
Okay.
So I will, and you know what? I think I told you I would go find out yesterday, right? And I didn't. So I will get on right after I do attendance. I'll email the registrar and ask her.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. You don't have to raise your hand. You can just jump in.
To be on the website, right? But what is it supposed to say? Because I've been going through the website and I still cannot find anything about that.
Anything about what?
About the classes or any, just the quiz, the Zoom.
Okay, so like, are you talking about classes for our class or for other classes?
Well, our class, the 6 a.m. class.
Yeah. Okay. Then before you, when we all leave, I'm going to get everybody to leave except you, and I will I will share my screen on the portal, and I can kind of work with you on that to get you to understand it a little bit more. If you would like to do that, if you can take like 5 or 6 minutes, I can kind of go over that with you at the end of once everybody's gone. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
All right. Other than that, peace out, guys. Y'all have a good day. Be safe.
All right, Chef, you have a good one.
Hey, you as well.
See you tomorrow.
See you. Hold on 1 second. Let me. Sorry, I was removing people from here. Okay, so explain to me what you're here. Let me stop recording real quick.
Okay.